around us. Our topic is presented by Dr. Sudhakar Kumarasamy and Dr. Sreenath Sukumaran. And here I welcome all of you to our sharing session about the concepts and things we can do in our day-to-day life and to a better future. So I welcome all of you on behalf of ICFGS and especially invite Dr. Sudhakar Kumarasamy for our presentation and sharing his concepts to us. So once again, welcome to you, and we will be at the same time we will be in YouTube live. So please subscribe and be there in our YouTube channel. So I think let's start our session. So please start.
Okay. Thank you, Hari, and also the participants as well as Dr. Sreenath Sukumaran for giving me this opportunity to deliver a talk on sustainability around us. So it's a great evening, I would say. We have people. Let me first share the screen first. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Yes, any one of you? Are you able to see my screen, Hari? Okay, so maybe I think Sreenath has to take control of it. I'll just speak from here. Okay. Okay, right. So very good evening to all of you. Thanks, Hari, as well as Sreenath for giving me this opportunity. Today we are here for discussing a topic on sustainability around us. So we are in a this is part of our ICGFS community, International Community on Global Sustainability, which we launched it long back in 2021, 2 months before. This is our second event of this seminar. Previously, Mr. Hari and Mr. Vipin have delivered a talk on vertical farming and other initiatives. So today it's a very basic, fundamental, introductory part of sustainability and how we can bring sustainability in our day-to-day life and what kind of initiatives we can do at a smaller level. So that will be presented. So let me go directly to the presentation. Next. So this outline of the presentation will be like this. So we'll start with the background, then a small definition about sustainability, and then about the various dimensions of sustainability, and then UN Sustainable Development Goals, because it's very important. It's very relevant to discuss about UN Sustainable Development Goals, and also some of the best practices, sustainable communities which are existing worldwide, as well as some common day-to-day life practices which we can actually do. So that is also will be covered. And finally, summary, outline, complete summary of the presentation also will be handled. So I'll be just focusing on first few slides on sustainability, and then the dimensions and what are the problems and what are the opportunities we have with regard to the sustainability. Next. So let us start with a small thought of the day. We are actually a small group. This small group is having actually 60 around members right now. It's highly relevant to talk about this thought. This is about a famous thought by Margaret Mead, who is an American philanthropist. Never doubt a small group of thoughtful and committed people. They can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So a small group actually can make a big difference in the world. So we believe that this sustainable group, especially this global sustainable community, can actually bring a big change in the society. So with that thought only, we have started this community and we are having this discussion. Next. Coming to the background of this, we need to discuss about what are the global challenges and global risk issues which are facing the humanity. We all know that lot of issues. One is with the recent Russian-Ukraine problem, and then there are war, terrorism, financial problem, economic issues, nuclear issues, environmental disasters. Likewise, you can name lot of risks which are actually a global threat, not only for a specific country. This risk are actually for almost for the whole world. So there is actually a need of balanced approach and a kind of leadership qualities, especially in environmental leadership, economic leadership, and social responsibilities very much needed in order to address this kind of global issues. Next. The problems of humanity, you will find this, there are several problems. One is about energy, clean water, food, environment, population, disease, war, terrorism, poverty, education, land. Almost all these problems actually are faced by the humanity. It's all interrelated also, because for example, if you want to talk about economic development of the country, then energy is going to be one of your concern. If you want to talk about a sustainable life for a human existence itself, we need food and water. And you want to talk about living peaceful with the nature, then we talk about environment and all, and population rise, all these things. Of course, war, terrorism, all these things are related to each other. So these all issues are a big problem in the humanity. So we need to come up with some solutions, especially in this context. Disease, the pandemic has created a bigger impact in the global level. And energy is a very important one, which is actually driving the economy. So basically, these two are a very, very important one. And other things are actually a basic part of human existence. So we are living in a world where we are all connected. How we are connected? Because we are connected with the water. The water is common. 70% of the world's surface is water. Then you can also think about the air we breathe and the food we eat. It's all coming from the nature. It's coming from the earth, which we share commonly. Even in fact, the energy is coming from the sun, which is also a common resource for all the world. So that's why I say it's a global issues, and this global issues needs a societal, a community approach is very much needed to tackle all these global issues. Okay, next. As usual, this is one of our climate change impact, which most of us know, but just by seeing the picture, you'll get a clear-cut idea what are all the impacts which we face commonly. Deforestation, it's all a man-made activity because of so much exploitation of natural resources happening. And then pollution is, of course, by industrial revolution, by using excessive use of coal, oil, and gas has contributed to the pollution. It has contributed to the increasing population also, because population is also not equally distributed. Some countries are very highly populated, some countries are not populated much. So this is increasing population is a big issue for the whole world also. Biodiversity threat, actually, some of the species are almost in extinction, which is also causing a bigger problem. Agricultural based countries are facing a huge threat because of drought, because of floods. There is a huge shortage of food supply because of the flood and drought and rainfall, all these things. Land degradation, hunger, poverty, malnutrition. These are all actually it's every day you take the newspaper or a discussion in the global context, you will find these kind of things which are happening. This is all indirect part of our human activities, man-made activities, climate change and all. So we need to think about it. We need to provide a solution for it. So for that, the sustainability is the right approach. So what is sustainability? Sustainability is a very basic definition is given. It's a very simple to understand. It is just like meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. So making this resource available for future generation, that is actually called sustainability. But how to do it? It has got almost three forms. One is environmental, other one is social and economic. So sustainability cannot be achieved only by one means. It has to come through environmental route. It also come to social route. It has to come through the economic means also. So in that way only we can actually get the sustainability. Let us go into the three dimensions of sustainability in detail. So here you'll see the environmental sustainability is nothing but using the natural resources and making these natural resources available for the next generation. And these natural resources should not be depletable, it should be made available. So that's why the renewable energy is going to play a very important role if at all you want to think about environmental sustainability. Economic sustainability is nothing but the business or activities and which actually provides a livelihood or provides a life for all the humankind. So that has to be considered. Not only it provides a livelihood for all the humankind, at the same time it also should provide a economic prosperity for the individual, not for the nation. Economic prosperity of the individual is much more important. So if an individual is growing, then automatically the community will grow. If community grows, the nation grows. If nation grows, the world also grows. So basically, the economic sustainability has to come from the individual. So thereby we need to provide a sustainable economic development activity. Our business, all our activities should be more sustainable. And then one of the very important aspect is our social sustainability. That is providing basic human rights and basic necessities for all the people. Many parts of the world, there will be deprived of many things. In fact, a quality education, in fact, some of them are not getting socially connected also. So these are some problems which the humanity is facing. So for that, sustainability can be achieved only in three ways: by providing them environmentally viable resources, which will be coming from the nature-based resources, and making them prosperity also. The economic growth is also there. At the same time, a social growth is also there. Thereby, people live in a very societal kind where people are actually mixing and then maintaining a very cordial relationship. A harmony is very much needed if at all you want to have a social sustainability. So these are all the three dimensions of sustainability. This has to be part of almost day-to-day life, as well as in any business, in any environment. It has to be formed. As far as the sustainable society is concerned, as far as now we are actually extracting the materials from the earth crust, which are using at a very, very high rate, which are getting depleted. And there are some substances which are also creating a lot of problems to the society. And all these resources are also degraded in the sense it gets used and it gets depleted very fast. So these are main issues. And people are not subjected to that. The future generation may not able to meet this demand. So this is one of the major issue with that. In order to be a sustainable society, we need to solve all these four issues. So we need to talk about regeneration. Instead of degradation, we need to talk about regeneration of resources. We also need to discuss about how to produce a sustainable materials which are more useful to the society rather than which is creating a problem for the society. So it's basically maintaining a balance, maintaining a kind of neutral. So that is what very much important in a sustainable society. And it's basically I would say a closed system. Earth is considered as a closed system. Why? Because only the energy is coming into the Earth's surface through the sun, whereas the rest is actually the matter within the Earth's surface is actually a closed system. So within the closed system, we are all actually connected. Within the biosphere, we are all connected. That's why whatever we use, whatever we generate, all has to be somehow regenerated. Otherwise, the matter cannot come somewhere from outside. So basically, we need to generate and reuse it and make it available for all. So this is how we can actually establish a sustainable society. Coming to the next part of our discussion, where we'll be going into a current unsustainable situation, I can relate to a small funnel. If you take this small funnel, you will see how all our natural resources are declining. And here we use excessive material, we use excessive natural resources, all these things. If you can actually, human being, all are related to this. When you excessively use these resources, what will happen actually? At some point of time, we need to hit down the wall, and there will be a space is very much limited. When there is a space is limitation happens, then there will be life is almost in a extinction state. So there will be no solution if we reach that part. So basically, we need to think about innovation, think about creativity, think about sustainable growth. So I would call the current revolution as sustainable revolution. So people call as industrial revolution and all these things. So now present after COVID pandemic 2021, 2020, I would say this is a rapid change in the paradigm. So it is called as a sustainable revolution or green revolution. So we need to focus more on providing a sustainable life for all the people. So next. So here I would like to talk about green engineering as well. So when we talk about sustainability, these days engineering discipline is getting not a proper choice for many of us. But of course, today all the materials, missions, everything is actually developed by engineers basically. That's why without engineers there is no life. So all branches of engineering are going towards green engineering, where we need to develop a product or a process which will not generate any waste, and these process can be considered as a green process, and this process doesn't have impact on the environment. So that's why all branches of engineering, let it be mechanical, chemical, electrical, or civil, or IT, or all branches are going to converge on one area, which is developing a green process, green design, green manufacturing, green systems. So these are all going to be part of it. So I would say a zero waste circular economy approach is very much needed. To be in thermodynamic term, I would call as green thermodynamics. So this word entropy actually fascinates me a lot. Why entropy? Because entropy is very difficult term for mechanical engineers to understand. Entropy means, they say it's something called irreversibility, or which actually creates a lot of disturbance to the process. We don't want the energy to be wasted. We want the energy to be conserved. We want the exergy to be maximized. So if we can develop a process which does not produce any waste, then we can say there is no entropy generation. We are actually making use of all the energy which is coming from a process. In that way, we are minimizing the exergy destruction. We are actually minimizing the entropy, and thereby we are increasing the second law efficiency also. Thereby the process we can consider as a green thermodynamic process. So green thermodynamic process should be our final objective of any engineers, developing a process which maximizes the efficiency, which maximizes the energy efficiency, exergy efficiency, and which doesn't generate zero waste. So all mechanical process, chemical process, energy conversion process should follow this green engineering principle. Next. And what are the sustainable movement which we can actually do it? We need to move from inefficient use to the efficient use of energy. We need to move from the scarce metal to the abundant metals, because metals play a very important role in our day-to-day life. So we cannot avoid metal totally, but still we can actually move from scarce metal to an abundant metal. We can move from fossil fuels to renewables. We can move from unsafe and unhealthy production way to a safe and healthy production and use style. And we avoid the human right violation that should be avoided. We should respect all human life in the world. So in that way, we can actually achieve a social sustainability. Economic barriers to be removed. There should be no division between rich and poor. There is no between developed and developing. In a sustainable society, all are equal. So thereby, the resources are equally distributed, meaning that everybody will be living a comfortable life. So in that way, this is one of the important aspects. Efficient use of resources also, and resources from the man-made natural ecosystems. In that way, we can actually move from one way of using to the other way of one. So basically, a new world order is actually needed through this sustainable movement. Next. There is a small framework actually which I would like to highlight, which is called as Global Sustainability Framework. So this framework involves 6 dimensions. I list out one by one. So first dimension is about organization itself. So any business or any organization should have a sustainable organization culture where the respect for human being, respect for colleagues, all should be be taken into consideration. Employee well-being, all this should be part of the organization culture. Sustainable education, innovation oriented research. So now all the engineering education will get converged to a point where we provide a sustainable education. Not only on the technical side, we need to teach about the sustainability, we need to teach about the moral values, we need to teach about the wisdoms, we need to teach about all the principles which are related to sustainable development. That should be part of our education system. And also we need to come up with a sustainable energy and circular economy approach in our energy generation and energy conversion. On all our energy usage should follow the circular economy model. Agricultural aspect, we need to bring agroforestry, sustainable agriculture, where we use renewable source of energy for producing agricultural products. At the same time, we also can apply agroforestry concepts also to enhance the agricultural and forest coverage area. So in that way, it can also contribute to sustainability. And sustainable life is very important. So because of course all these activities why we are doing, because we want to improve the quality of life of human being. How to improve the quality of life of human being? Human life is more precious, we all know, and human life is actually, we are living in a earth which is actually part of nature. So everybody should be conscious to the environment. Environmental consciousness, social consciousness, and economic consciousness should be imbibed in the life of a mankind. So in that way we can actually bring a change in the life of humankind actually. So sustainable life, integrating the human consciousness, environmental consciousness, economic consciousness, it should be the very important aspect. And at last, in any organization, when we work together, there should be a collaboration which should be more interdisciplinary, because people are coming from different walks of life, engineering branches, medical, because we need the humanitarian problem is very complex actually. So it needs educators, we need policymakers, we need leadership. Everybody should come and play a very important role. In that way only we can actually establish a sustainable community model. I hope ICGFS community can actually contribute to this model and bring a change in the society even at a smaller level. If we can bring a change, that can actually a biggest example for others to follow. Next, I hope I will stop with this slide, and then rest of the slides will be discussed by Dr. Sreenath Sukumaran. Finally, it's again, we are going back to the traditional way of living. In fact, our ancestors used to have this environmental consciousness. All this consciousness were already existing in their before the industrial era. So basically, we need to move from this maximizing income to a kind of building a good relationship that is actually very much needed in this sustainable society model. The global production has to move from a local production. High amount of waste has to be moved to recycling of the waste. And then instead of now these days, actually people talking about standardization and all. I think we should not do with the standardization. In fact, we need to do with the diversity. Diversity is only can bring change in the society. So diversity is now very important. Diversity, not only in resources, in people, in all the things, the ideas, all that can come from diverse background. And of course, the fossil fuel, we need to move towards sustainable energy. So in that way, the sustainable society model has to come from all these possible goods in food, materials, energy use, water use. All these things are going to play a role. And I hope ICGFS will be a great opportunity. This movement can bring people to work on this any of these challenges, and can provide solutions at a smallest level, and then make the solution make it available for all the mankind in the world. So that is our objective of our mission. So now I pass on the session to my friend, colleague, and Dr. Sreenath Sukumaran will take over the session. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, please proceed.
Okay, just a few seconds. So there was an echo issue which I just resolved now. Yeah. So thank you, Sudhakar sir, for the wonderful introduction as well as sharing your thoughts on sustainability. As you said, it is very important aspects, especially in this current scenario in the world. And through ICFGS, all of us, it is a platform for all of us to contribute to sustainability in the way, maybe in a small or big way, in whatever way we can. So, while discussing about sustainability, I think it will be unfair to go without discussing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which was set up in 2015 in its General Assembly. Actually, it is a collection of 17 goals. Like it covers the three pillars of sustainability, like the economic aspects, then the social aspects, as well as the environmental aspects. So these will give a good or a better form of collection of all goals, which is easier for organizations or for a country or for a society to focus on. And by focusing on all these goals, the global sustainability or sustainability can be achieved in a holistic way. And also there is a non-voluntary target for this goal, which is by year 2030 these goals has to be achieved. And within these goals there are some targets which can be accessed by going to the official website. So let's go through with each goals. The sustainable development goal 1, which no poverty and zero hunger, which are straightforward. Like by reading this, the idea is being conveyed to the reader or one who studies it. So all, and also these goals are related to the social aspects. No, no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being of all citizens or people in a global way, and providing quality education is the fourth goal. And quality education to the minimum is an access to education, like the basic education. But in fact there is a possibility to reach the real education, which consists of the technical side as well as the moral side. So that should be, I think that should be the finest version of education. And further the gender equality, which is a very much important issue in this current era. And we can see that many improvements has been occurring in the world to promote gender equality across the world. So, and finally, or the sixth goal in this slide is the clean water and sanitation, which is also related to the social aspects, and which is very important for the health and the proper growth of women as well as children. And coming to the seventh goal, clean energy is one of the very important factor. As we discussed in the first slide, it is one of the energies, one of the important what to say important factor which may decide the future of the world in terms of climatic effect or the greenhouse or the global warming, etc. And the eighth goal is decent work and economic growth, which calls for a inclusive as well as non-discriminated and gender equality based employment or the work atmosphere. And the ninth goal is industry innovation infrastructure, so which is very much important for the growth as well as the development of a country. And as a whole, all the organization has to reduce their inequalities to the minimum level, let it be within an organization or between the countries, etc. And another important factor that cause unsustainability is the cities, because lot of people are or cities are populated, which means that there is a tug of war for the water amenities or the energy or the road infrastructure, etc. So like that's why making the cities and communities sustainable is a very plays a very important role in achieving global sustainability. It is important for the safety as well as security of the people. And in addition to that, few goals consider the life on water, conserve the biodiversity in the oceans and sea because the earth is not only for humans, it is for every organisms, including the wildlife, the fishes or the aquatic animals or aquatic species, the birds and the reptiles, for everyone. So these goals is also emphasizing on all living organisms, whether it is on the water or it may be on the land. And finally, for achieving all these goals, a very important key is discussions and the partnerships between countries or between people or between organization. So these two goals, 16 and 17, partnership, peace, justice, strong institutions are very important in order to achieve the remaining goals. So it is one of the important what to say the gear which can help in achieving the goals which discussed previously. So now let us go through different companies adoption of sustainability, because since the world is a big and diverse, it means that sustainability should have a definition in a broader way, and it also will be unique for each organization. For a university, the definition of sustainability may be different for a cement industry. It may be different for an electronic industry. So, likewise, to show it, the four companies or the big business conglomerates like Bosch, Tata Group, then Facebook and Petronas, this petroleum company in Malaysia. So all of them have their own way of interpreting sustainability. And the good thing is almost all big companies are very much concerned about the sustainability, as well as they want to show their sustainable stewardship through the sustainable initiatives. And likewise, another initiative which I remember right now is RE100 initiative, in which the global companies have come up with a target of becoming 100% renewable energy by 2030 or 2035. So that is how many business companies or industrialists are coming up, are taking up sustainability, at least to show in front of their customers for a to showcase their environmental stewardship. So now let us think about few misconceptions about sustainability. Normally, there is a taboo, or there is a kind of stigma that sustainability is environmentalism. Actually, sustainability is beyond environmentalism. It not only considers the proper use of material, the environmental resources, but also how to live peacefully in a society, how to live with minimal resources, and how to be economically stable, or these all holistically part of sustainability. And another factor is regarding the sustainable practices. It doesn't mean that each and every steps count in sustainability. It doesn't mean that the huge investment or large scale practices only have significant impacts. Even though a even though the initiative is so small, like avoiding one staple a day in an office in UK, in fact, in a long duration, it can in fact bring 120 tons. It can save 120 tons of steel. So that's why each and every steps towards sustainable practices counts. And in this aspect, I believe that this today's meeting also is a small baby step that supports, or that is in the way of sustainability. And sustainability is not a rocket science. It is a simple daily life science. So, but we have to which can be implemented in our day-to-day life. And also sustainability is connected with our past histories. For example, I remember the right now remembering the apartheid movement in South Africa, where there was a racial inequality and there was a fight or a non-violence movement against it. So that is also in a way related to sustainability. So sustainability is not nothing new. It is happening across the world. For example, the non-violence movement by Mahatma Gandhi in for the independence of India, So all these are connected to sustainability. So sustainability is already there, or it is happening within us, but just we need to focus on more and explore more on or how to take it forward in a broader way. So that is what is needed. And hence there is a movement, or there is a in some parts of the world, to develop a sustainable living community. It is like a traditional, as we discussed earlier, traditional or a community with an intentional mindset, with a goal of becoming socially, culturally, economically, and ecologically sustainable. So normally these societies have a few characteristics in general, like it is comprised of small group of affordable houses in a semi-rural locations or rural locations, and these houses will be made in a environment friendly way with less resources, maybe wooden houses, etc. And also they will reduce their usage of power as well as heat, and at the same time these community will look forward to be sufficient in terms of electricity, and there will be systems for water recycling and rainwater harvesting, and the food produce, like the fruits, vegetables, meats, etc., will be grown by the community itself for their consumption, and there will be enough green space as well as woods or lakes will be there for the recreational activities as well as for maintaining a good atmosphere. And in fact, some may have their own shops or currencies, or they may have their own schools and all amenities within this location, so that there is no need to move away and move away from this community, and it may cause all these activities will cause, or it will help to minimize the carbon footprint. So and on the right side for me, this is a simple layout of a sample eco village, where there is a space for farmland, and there are some wind turbines, then biogas unit for for meeting the energy needs, and the plantation like fruit yards, etc., and a lake, and some the auditorium or community hall. So all these amenities are collectively together, and so this is a kind of sample design of sustainable community. And now we will go on to different models from different continents. So first, the case study is from Asia, which is a universal township called Arovili in the southern part of India, with which is initialized for the purpose of human unity in diversity, and hence currently this village or township is accommodated or inhabited by peoples from around 59 nations, from all age groups, from all social classes, background, and cultures. So this is basically this model basically focus on the human unity and diversity, and this it is said to be the first and the only internationally endorsed experiment in human unity and the transformation of consciousness. And in addition to that, there are a lot of greeneries, and hence socially as well as environmentally, this township is an example in front of the world. And this one is the layout of the township. So for this, basically they have gone for a circular based of design, and there is a center square center piece area, and different sections have different sectors, like industrial, one section maybe for the industrial, one other section for the residential, and other for the open and green space, and finally it will be surrounded by a green belt, which is the outer circle. And coming to an Australian case study, uh, there is an eco village called Crystal Waters, which is environmentally and socially responsible rural subdivision based upon a technique called permaculture. And according to this principle, it is focused on a sustainable, efficient, and productive use of land while taking care of earth, and based upon this culture. And secondly, it considers the incredible diversity of the planet and wildlife, and also it will maintain the natural resources or the natural terrain as it is, and they will uphold a sustainable way of life based on the based on the locality. If that place is good for example, the apple fruit, or for wheat, then their way of life, their food style also they will adopt in a way that that can be based upon the food resource from their place. And some examples adopted from these crystal waters, which officially began in 1988, they have maintained a balance of hydrology, the water resources, so that the water stream is not affected by the development activities. And the extensive use of renewable materials such as earth and wood has been used for the building construction. In fact, they have made use of the solar passive design so that the temperature variation won't be high. And also another interesting factor was the selective use of land. For example, the proper level land was used for uh, agriculture or for the living purpose, and the steeper areas was left for some recreation or for the forestry or for planting trees, etc. And now, while coming to the case study in the Europe, it is an architectural experimental architectural community project which began in 1980s under the foundation of Feinhorn Foundation. So in fact, they this community's ecological footprint, if half of the UK United Kingdom's average, so which means that they have extensively using sustainable development in terms of environmental, social, and economic terms for their day-to-day living. That's why the ecological footprint is less. And based upon this experiment, they have come up with the first technical guideline on ecological housing. And some of the highlights of this eco village, it consists of 61 ecological buildings for the accommodation purpose, and there are different four wind turbines which accounts for 750 kilowatt of electricity production, and around or more than 70% of the food needs is met by the community-based agriculture scheme. And there is a separate biological system for sewage treatment. In fact, they have their own bank and local currency called Echo, so that the local transactions are based upon this currency. And finally, they are also providing education on sustainability to participants from 33 countries. So they have covered, in fact, the social, environmental, and many aspects in a holistic way. And now the coming to a question from North America. This is in New York, in New York district, Ithaca. It's an award-winning eco village developed since 1991, which consists of 85 energy-efficient homes and a common house with 15 apartments, and there is a swimming pond, then playgrounds, etc. And it has different sustainable practices and goal. It aims to be 100% run by renewable energy. However, right now it is 50 to 75 percentage, and the food production varies between 26 to 50 percentage. They are planning to improve it, and their mission is worth reading, like to promote the experimental learning about ways of meeting human needs for shelter, food, energy, livelihood, and social connectedness that are aligned with the long-term health and viability of earth and its inhabitants. In short, this community, through their uh, through their initiatives, it is trying to convey to the world that all our actions should be in such a way that it should support the long term viability or the long term effectiveness of the earth and its other inhabitants, not only for us. It should be in a global perception. So, and finally, another interesting case study from South America, which is a sustainable public school in Argentina. It is also called as Spaceship, and it is developed based on a method developed by the architect Michael to generate self-sufficient buildings around the world. So they have made use of solar panels as for electricity production, and the construction in such a way that the natural light has been used, and many plastic bottles and recyclable uh, materials has been used for the construction. And the construction basically on the timber, the like recyclable renewable materials, and there is organic food production in which I think the students as well as the staff involved in food production, and also there is passive thermal conditioning in a natural way to keep the temperature in a safer level. And in fact, the teachers and students, it is like a Gurukula Vidyabhasam in our India, where the teachers and student will stay together within the school compound, and the bonding, and it is like a place where they can share and interact with each other more, and they can learn, these students can learn more life skills through these sustainable school initiatives. So now, by listening all the previous case studies, though they are well and good, it doesn't mean that we should develop a ecological village or ecological community to start sustainability. It is not like that. We can adopt a lifestyle that attempts to reduce an individual's or society's use of earth natural resources. Uh, so in by reducing our usage of resources, by forming the minimalistic lifestyle, still we are supporting the cause of sustainability, still we are supporting the earth's long term stability. So let us read out few points related to how to live sustainably in a house. So likewise, we have to use natural light as to extent as possible. Then turn off unnecessary lights, and try to wet clothes when there is sunlight, and wash hands or hand wash the clothes rather than a washing machine if the clothes are less. Turn off devices like Wi-Fi box and other extension box while sleeping. And coming to the sustainable commuting, it is said to use the second-hand bicycle if needed, and prefer stairs over elevators, use public transport, and try for carpools. And if it is necessary to purchase a new car or vehicle, go for an electric powered vehicle like Tesla S or the Kia Motors new models. And then how to make the grocery shopping sustainably. Maybe few of us might be doing it by carrying their own plastic bags, or their own bags, or preferring not to buy the groceries packed in plastic, and by avoiding the bottled water that normally in plastic, by carrying their own water bottle. And in fact, offices as well as ourselves can go for paperless activities by preferring digital letters, digital receipts, and sending, for example, electronic wedding invitations, etc. And sustainable kitchen can be focused by making use of the left out of vegetables, or make it a juice or compost. And don't throw away any glass jars, make use of it for other purpose till we can use it, till it is damaged. And go for washable metal straw. So, and also invest in, you go for pressure cooker if needed, because it will save the time and energy. So likewise, many things which we do in our day-to-day life are in a way connected to sustainability. Like forming there, we can impart sustainability in the fashion field, the dresses we wear, or maybe in the office, or while providing the gift, or in all these scenarios, we have to think in a sustainable way while choosing the technology as well as the lifestyle, and lot of things can be done. So it is like, when this kind of lifestyle comes for a masses, for a 10 or 10,000 or 1 lakh people, then the real change can happen. But at first, the change should start from us, from within ourselves. So don't hesitate to follow. In fact, each one of us are following many conservation or minimalistic activities in day-to-day life, but still lot of possibilities are there which has to be explored. So finally, to summarize, sustainability is just a way of life that covers the social, ecological, and environmental aspects. It is the need of the hour to support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So in that way, ICFGS community is trying to do its part. And just remember that the sustainability is not just greenery, green energy, or environmentalism. It is more than that. And we discussed about different eco communities. in different parts of the world. And sustainability in daily life is possible by simply changing our lifestyle in different our areas of work. So these are some reference materials which the idea or the information has been taken. So finally, thank you for listening to this talk, a basic talk on sustainability around us. So this talk was intended to provide a basic understanding of sustainability and to clarify uh, the idea with the masses. So anybody who is interested to part of this initiative, uh, kindly join International Community for Global Sustainability through his LinkedIn page. The updates are available, and also this QR code can be scanned for further updates. Thank you, Sudhakar sir, as well as the members of ICGS for the wonderful opportunity. Have a nice day. So I think that is we almost have come to the end of our section. So before that, if there is any questions from the participants or from the YouTube, maybe that can be discussed. Okay, so it seems that the audience are have been listening to this speech, and they might have got a good idea about sustainability. And so, hence, I think it's a time to wind up for today's session. Many thanks to Dr. Sudhakar for his appearance and sharing his thoughts in spite of his health condition. And very grateful, and it shows very the commitment and the interest of him in this initiative and for the global peace. And thanks for all participants for spending your valuable time here for listening to this talk. I sincerely believe that you might have got some kind of motivation or idea about sustainability, and hopefully you may also implement it in your day-to-day life. So with these words, we are signing out now. Hope we will meet in the next meeting in March. Thank you, everyone.